Divine Being, my name is Juha Riverhill and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to speak about the point of view that what God has towards us. As a human beings, we are under the radar, or we are under the God's eye all the time. He's watching us, He's testing us, He's doing nothing but quietly whispering through our spirit guides and our angels to our ears that what should be probably better thing to do. So what does He think about us is that He loves us no matter what. He loves us unconditionally. Unconditional love or divine or God is the same thing, but He does really love us and gives us multiplied opportunities to make our mistakes and errors something different. Because why do we do mistakes? Well, we need to learn through them. We are here to learn. We are here to educate ourselves. And our higher self and unconditional love and our spirit guides, they are continuously having a mission to develop our soul into the better form and to be a better being, better human being. Many times when I have had difficult times in my life, I've had some flops and I have had some really high moments when I noticed that, oh dear, I learned today something. And those moments, they are going from moment to moment. We've been tested. They are not any regular, every month we are having one test from one thing. No, it's not that. It's some kind of an irregular system. They are reading us all the time and thinking about that when would be the best time to test us. And then when we pass our test, then we can move to another lesson. Or maybe we can then move to another stage of that lesson, because all the life lessons we have and all the things that we are here to develop, they have many layers, many levels of there to be learned, you know. Usually when we're talking about the relationship between us and the God, we rather have some kind of over-respecting attitude towards our God, and we think that God is a punisher, or we think that God is revengerous, or we should be afraid of God. And actually in the Bible it says that if we are afraid, we are not in God. And somebody who is in a God is not afraid, or using things that intimidates people, and that is not God-like acting. But when we are talking about divine, divine is always, let's say, merciful. He's always giving us another chance and always forgiving. And as an image of God, we think from Bible that we are image of God. Then what kind of a thing we want to be, what kind of a being we want to be, what kind of a humankind and individuals we want to be. It's all under the test. It's not that we should be thinking about that it's like a hard exams and studying. No, it's not. It's called life. During our life, we go through many things. We go through many and various tests, and we do flop. We do go through them. Everything like that will happen. And it's normal. And we shouldn't be thinking about that we are some kind of a machine or engine. We are not. We are human. And human makes errors. And as a human beings, it's really important to make errors. Like I said before, that is the road to success. That is road to our development. Like our self-esteem. it wouldn't develop without that first we fail, we do stupid things, and our self-esteem will go down. But then afterwards, when we start to develop ourselves truly, then the self-esteem will go up. Our self-esteem will develop through our experiences. And these experiences are really important. But let's not get into that now. Well, how does our God, our Creator, see us? First of all, when we are regular human beings, we haven't been thinking about spirituality, we haven't been thinking about God, we haven't been trying to develop ourselves, and before that, God is looking us really kindly and like His children. But then when we develop and we get further in our spiritual development, He starts to look more higher to us. That is not that we should be worrying about that God doesn't love us if we don't develop. He will. He will always love us as we are. But He always thinks about also that He wants to give a little candy as we start to develop ourselves. And then when we do develop, then He's really pleased. He's happy for us, so that we are getting advanced and we are going there. He always thinks about us, all of us, at the same moment. Because unconditional love, to whom inside we are, He always can think about all of us at the same time. Because we are little particles of Him. It's like we are little particles of God's body. If you would think about that, your body is God, like it is. It's part of the divine, but if you would think that this wholeness of our physical form would be divine, and then we are little cells or molecules or atoms in our physical, God's physical body, then He would know and feel and sense every cell in His body. And we are like those little cells that are inside of divine. We are breathing. When we are breathing, He is breathing through us. When we are breathing, He can feel it. Because at the same time that His physical body is breathing, He can feel that. Because we are His physical body, and our physical body is part of divine, part of God. So when we are part of God, that, let's say physically, then we can never be separating ourselves from divine. But how do we do it? How do we separate ourselves from divine? Well, it's a really old story. One of the oldest stories in the world is that we do mistake. And for example, we have some kind of a religion or belief system saying that if we harm our relationship towards God, we are leftovers. We are stupid, we haven't done a really good job, and we are outcasts. But no, we are not. Actually, when we do mistake, God loves us more. It's really fine, isn't it? So when something happens to us, He doesn't turn His back ever to us, ever. And that is so true. And how can you feel that? How can you know that? Well, I think going deeper to that discussion is something that I've been thinking really harshly, especially in the early stages of my spiritual development. I was thinking that, am I forgiven? Is God listening me? Is God forgiving me what I've done? If I've done something wrong or stupid, well, I'm a Lutheran person, or not anymore, but I've been brought up as a Lutheran person, so that is one form of Protestant belief. In a church, where I belonged, or in a community where I lived, there was a topic or the word called sin. And that is one really common word when we are thinking about divine. Or when we are talking about divine, it's always that word pops out for some reason. And from my perspective, what I've been listening and being in a close relationship to my Creator, what I've been talking with my God, what I think about is that whatever I have done in my life, I've been in a close relationship with Divine. I've felt His energy. And when I noticed it first time that I have a connection to Divine, I have connection to God, it was really a thrilling moment. It was really uplifting moment that I noticed that I have a connection to God. And I noticed at the same time that even you, all of us, we have the same connection. We just don't realize it, or we haven't practiced it, because the connection is not then something that somebody calls you or you get message to your phone. It's not like that. It's coming into your consciousness, your awareness. You get connection to Divine if you want. And usually what is stopping is our belief system. Do we believe that we could have a personal, close relationship with Divine? When I'm having this connection with Divine, it's always so deep. It's always so close that I feel that God is not separated from us. And that's what my whole speech started about this connection was that why are we separating ourselves from Divine? Because we think that we have done or we have sinned, and then we are saying, I'm not worthy of God. And that, I think, is misunderstood big time. So the topic of a sin, it's actually coming from our church. And that is some kind of a topic I learned from my spiritual teachers, was that sin doesn't exist. It's a human made up. It's a false belief system. And sin is only sin we actually have is that we ourselves separate us from the God by saying I'm not worthy of God, or I'm not doing good enough to be in a God's kingdom, or I'm not worthy to go to God's kingdom. But what is it actually about? It's about that if we are image of God, like I said, God will always forgive us. No matter what we do, no sort of sin that there's no sin that is so bad that He would never forgive. He would forgive the Hitler. He would forgive the Genghis Khan. He would forgive to anybody, and He will. And so, no matter what you do, you are still loved by God. But it doesn't mean that you can do anything you want, because if you start to do stupid things, somebody will stop you. Police, or then there is some kind of a divine intervening there, and it won't happen. You cannot do evil too long, because somebody will stop you. That is also the God's law, that some things you can't do too long. If you're doing something too long, they will stop you. And they means Unconditional Love, Masters of Light, angels. They will stop you if you do stupid things continuously. But then one time it happens to everybody. It has happened many times to us. We've killed somebody in a past life, or we've been raping somebody, or somebody raped us. It happened. Those are things, they are experiences, they are happenings in our lives. But God will always forgive. And how do I explain this more better? So that God always forgives. What is after that? What is sin? It's nothing. Only sin we have is that we ourselves separate ourselves from divine, because we think we've done wrong and we are not worthy of God. That is false, outdated, old program. We should be putting that aside and saying, even though I've done harm to myself or somebody else, I will still love myself as I am. So I think this was for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and think about forgiving from new angle. So and we are the image of God, how would God in me act? If something happens, how does God think about this? How does our God act? If I'm doing something wrong or you're doing something wrong, what would God think about? He would always think, I love you as you are my beloved. Have a great day and check out my other videos. I hope you enjoyed.